Hi and welcome back to another video of JPlay. I am Marcus, and as you can see today I'm starting my playthrough of Defenders of the Realm, which to some extent I believe is the fever dream of Richard Launius when he played his first session of Pandemic or so. But quite honestly, I always preferred Defenders over Pandemic, so I'm really enjoying this game. I haven't played this one for quite a while. And back in the day, I didn't really play with an awful lot of expansions, but as you know, things are starting to pile up, so I was adding more and more expansions to my collections here. So you will definitely see a lot of stuff. For example, we have a lot of different quests from all the expansions. I'm relatively certain that some of the heroes I'm using are already from the expansions. I will be using the Royal Blessing rule. I believe this was introduced in the Dragons expansions also, because I decided to go with a 3-player game. Yes, you shouldn't play this game other than with 4 players. But I think this definitely helps you to balance things out to some extent. Apart from that, yes, we are adding the global events in there. So I already did set up the deck according to the rules of the Dragons expansions as well. But even there, I'm really added a lot of different global events from all sorts of mini expansions and whatnot. And one of my patrons actually suggested to also introduce the Winds of War mini expansion. So he really wants to see me suffer, it seems. So I'm doing this. I never played with the Winds of War expansions myself, so I have really no clue how things go. It's relatively rules-wise, it's very easy. So I think whenever you are playing a special card or you are drawing All is Silent card, which we'll not see in this game because we are playing with the global events and the rules there suggest to take them out. So I have taken them out. So when we will play 3 of these special cards, we will then also resolve a Winds of War card, which are all terrible from what I could tell. So yeah, let's see how things go from here. As I mentioned, I am playing a 3-player game. So let's have a quick look at our starting heroes. First of all, we have the Elf Lord. The Elf Lord always needs to be the starting player, which is a little bit weird. He comes with his reroll token here. We have the Swift Attack. The Secret Pathway is great, so he can move into green locations for free. Unless he's out of action tokens, then he's no longer allowed to do that. And for my starting quest, we have the Ring of Visions, where we have to travel to Dark Woods and spend 1 action to discard any number of black hero cards to roll 1 die for each. And for each 5 or 6, you may place 1 action token from the supply on this card, and then we can use those tokens basically moving onward. And then we can also start losing hero action tokens permanently to place more action tokens on this card. So we can somewhat repower that. And I think we will only do that once or twice, and then we may have to let him die or so. And yeah, up here are his starting hero cards. Up next, we have Eliana, a centaur. She's really powerful, but also comes with, let's say, somewhat of a penalty. First of all, her gallop allows her to move 2 spaces, basically with 1 action. She doesn't need to spend a host travel card for that. Her archery also allows her to attack minions 1 space away. It's really powerful as well. Her rider's ability allows her to take 1 additional hero with her when she is moving, and she may pick up and drop off heroes as she moves. But then it comes to the shunned ability. The centaur may not enter inns and draws 1 less hero card if ending her turn on Monarch City or any location with a treasure chest icon. So that is definitely kind of a downer. So she's not going to go for any rumors in this playthrough here. Her starting quest is to commune with the tree spirit, seek the magical knowledge of the ancient tree spirit. So we travel to Father Oak, spend 1 action to roll 3 dice, and basically on a roll of 5 or 6 on any die, we are commune with the ancient orc. And as a reward, we can discard this quest at any time to remove 1 tainted crystal, and you do not have to be on the tainted location to use this reward. Relatively easy to achieve compared to some of the other quests. And then, last but not least, we have the Seeker. She has the Precognition ability. At the start of the Seeker's turn, reveal the top Darkness card. This is her knowledge of the future. This card will be the first Darkness Spreads card drawn in her Night Phase. So she knows what is coming and can start dealing with that. I like that. Deadly Blade. May discard any special purple cards, basically like this one here, and treat it as if it's a battle luck card. Reroll all failed dice. I mean, yeah, this is a battle luck card, so yeah, it's basically a moot point, but there will be more for sure. Additionally, all combat dice generated from special cards are wild for the Seeker. She may use them against any general. Then, last but not least, Confound Enemy. The Seeker may spend one action while at a location with enemy minions and move one or more of these minions to any adjacent location. Also very, very powerful, especially when these minions are coming closer to Monarch City, for example. As a note, may not use on a location with a general. Makes kind of sense. Her starting quest, Heal the Land, Seek to Restore the Land, is also a relatively easy one, even though we only have one tainted location right now. And as an ongoing road, once we have solved it, experienced in the Way of the Land, you add +1 to each die you roll on future Heal the Land action. So this is really a cool preparational quest for her. So we really want to hold on to the Seeker because she can heal the land much better. In case you don't know anything about Defenders of the Realm, and maybe even Pandemic, then let me quickly walk you through what we are trying to achieve. So we are here, the three heroes at Monarch City, which is the capital of the land. But ultimately, we are trying to defeat all 4 of these so-called generals here. So that's similar in Pandemic, where we are trying to ultimately heal or cure, or basically wipe out the different diseases here. So we have Sapphire over here, we have Gorgot, the Orc over here. There is, I believe, Varkolak, exactly, he's some kind of a necromancer or so, and down here we have Balazak, a demon general. So we want to get rid of them all. Of course, we are losing various ways. First of all, if there are 5 or more minions at Monarch City, we immediately lose when we have spent all or placed all tainted crystal onto the board. Right now we are starting here with only 1, so we were kind of lucky there. So I think 12 is the magic number. If we placed our 12 tainted crystal on the board, we also automatically lose the game. Then if any one of the generals make it to Monarch City, it's also immediately game over. And last but not least, if we would have to place any one of the minions onto the board and we are out at that point in time, we have also lost the game. So we can place the last of any given color, but if then we have to add one more, then we have also lost the way. So that's really already always a good sign of a cooperative way, that you only have one way to win it and several ways to lose it here, of course. And in between there's a hell of a lot of stuff. Some things again might remind you a little bit of Pandemic, but this game is really, I think, mature enough on its own and really introduces a lot of chaos that you know maybe from games like Arkham Horror. So Richard Launius, in case you didn't know, is also the designer of Arkham Horror, at least the first and the second edition. And yeah, I think with that being said, we should be pretty much good to go. As usual, I will walk you through the game as I go. I will also explain you a little bit stuff that will happen for the expansion that we added. The Royal Pleasant is really something which I have 2 tokens now which I can spend for all kinds of stuff, like, I don't know, I think Ignoring a Darkness Spreads card or so. The Winds of War I already briefly talked about, and in respect to the global events, that's something I will explain when they come up. And again, that's pretty much where we start the game off. Before I get started, a huge shout out to all of my patrons and channel members. You guys are truly amazing. You basically enable me to do these kind of games. So this is not sponsored in any way. I purchased all this stuff over the last couple of years. Spent a fortune on those, of course. But yeah, definitely a very, very enjoyable game. And maybe one last thing before we get started. When you look at the board and wonder, hey, this looks different. Yes, it is. That's basically the updated map they have on their latest Kickstart, I think also 1 or 2 years ago, can't quite remember. It's not different from a, let's say, gaming perspective. They only changed the layout a little bit in respect to these location, basically titles here. And what you also see, I believe that's not part of the original map. You now really see the path of the generals as they move to Monarch City. So here, for example, for Balazak, you see exactly which path he is taking, which is something I think it really does help. So yeah, I think let's get cracking. As I already mentioned, The Elf Lord, I don't have a name for him, is going to start the game. We have a ton of actions that we can take. We can move by foot, we can move by horse, we can move by eagle, we can move by gate, we can perform a special skill in case we have a special gate, we can build magic gates, we can listen to rumors at an inn, we can try to heal the lands, we can heal our wounds. One of the main things that you will see is definitely engaging minions in combat, and last but not least, that's the ultimate goal, we can also try to attack an enemy general, which is something that we can do and should do with, let's say, our fellow heroes. Going for a general on your own is typically not a great idea. So let's see, or let's have a quick look at the board. And with this huge board, I always have to zoom out as much as I can. So I'm pushing the tech to max here, it seems. Let's see how things go. So again, we are starting all here in Monarch City. We see where all those minions are right now. The main problems are any locations that are adjacent to Monarch City, because like in Pandemic, there could be, I think it's also called, is it an overflow here? Also, can't quite remember. But similar things can happen here. So when you have, basically, if you would place your fourth minion into a location, you would see an overflow, and then these folks would start to appear in cities. And there are also Darkness Spreads cards, which will also add more folks into Monarch City. And keep in mind, once we have added the fifth guy in there, we immediately lose the game. But again, this placement usually only happens basically at the end of the round. So you always have your action turn in order to prevent bad things. If you then draw cards, then this is typically the time when you are start losing the game. So I think getting rid of these fellas around our locations might be a good thing to consider. On top of this, we also want to maybe build some more magical gates. So this is where I have to look at the cards which I have. So I have Dragon's Teeth Range on my hand, which would be basically down here actually. I'm not sure if it does make sense to build a magical gate here. Usually you want to build magical gates maybe next to an inn or so, because that's where you are getting more and more cards actually. So for example, going over here to the Enchanted Glade might be a good idea to build a gate here, because then we can teleport to these gates through various means and then have an easier access to these inns, and then from there we can then also travel back, for example, wherever we need to be. So building gates is usually not a bad thing, but I believe he might not be the perfect candidate for that, because with this card this doesn't really help us. Honestly, I was going to move to an inn with him, but because of his swift attack, which allows him basically on the first attack roll at the location, roll one more die than the number of enemy minions there. So I think he wants to get rid of these folks. The way how you track the actions, by the way, are also your life points here. So he starts the game with 5 life points, and these are also his actions. When he's losing life points, you're moving them off your character sheet. Then you first have to heal before you can start using them again. And yes, you can die in this game, but you get a new hero right away. And I think there is no ill effect when losing an hero in this case. So we are not adding any more tainted crystals or stuff, at least as far as I remember. I have to check that to confirm. So with our first action, and I think I will move them back now, and we will leave them on his character sheet. He's moving 1 space. He could move for free into this zone here, but again, I think we want to get rid of these 2 suckers here at the Dancing Stone. These are basically the worshippers of Varkolak. So with our first action, we are moving, I think, no, he's actually here. Yeah, he's not really carrying a bow for whatever reason. A different kind of elf, it seems. So we are moving over here, and for our second action we are going to initiate an attack. So we are flipping this as well, and usually now rolling 1 die, 1 matching color die for each minion present here. Because they're 2 black folks, we would be rolling 2 black dice, but because of his swift attack, first time you're attacking at a location, you get to roll 1 extra die, which I think is good. And our 2 hit value for Varkolak's minions is a 4+. So we have a 50-50 chance on any of those dice. All these combat skills and their special abilities, backstories, let's not really spend too much time on those, but if you want to have some read, we can do that. I will do the small flavor text on any kind of event cards or on our quests and whatnot. Let's not get carried away. And again, the combat skill is something that we have to look at when we are actually fighting the general, which right now is not going to happen anyway. So let's start to roll some dice, and for each 4+ we are removing one of those minions, and that's a great start. At least we were successful with one. And one thing that you need to know in this game is if you ever end your movement or end your turn, end your round in a location with minions, you are taking damage. So that's something that you definitely do want to avoid. But I think right now we still have some things left, so we will spend another die. Another action to roll now one die only, unfortunately, so we have to roll a 4+. This is always bad. Oh, and this was not good enough. The question is, should I do that again? I have 2 more actions left, and I could still move out then afterwards. Yeah, this was really not great, but let's do that anyway. We are rolling another die here, and then if we are not successful with our last die, we might then really have to move away. And are you kidding me? Yeah, this was really a great start. I mean, me and rolling dice. And again, I'm not really particularly a good gamer. When it comes down to Defenders of the Realm, and it really was a while. But yeah, I think with my last action I will move away. Does it matter where? I think we want to move somewhere where we are not getting hit. And there could be... let's do things a little different. With basically for a free action we can move into the Greenleaf, and then with our last action I think we are moving here to the Mountains of Mist, because from there with 2 more actions we can then move into Chimera Inn to maybe next round deal with Listening to Rumors or so. Yeah, let's do that. So this was basically the action phase of the hero. Then we are dealing with a so-called evening phase. So we are drawing 2 more cards. Hand limit is 10, by the way. We have a black card. Black card is great because the black cards will help us with our Ring of Visions here, with our quest. So we have to discard them at this location, the Dark Forest. What's Dark Forest? Darkwood, in order to roll dice, and for each 5 or 6 we are. So we really want an awful lot of black cards in our hand. And all the other cards will later on help us also in our battle against the corresponding generals. For example, this card here, the Windy Pass card, will help us to defeat Balazak a little bit more. So for each card we are spending, we are getting that many dice. It also helps us, so we can also discard this card to use it as a horse. So then we would be able to move up to 2 spaces. And the center location, in a lot of instances, you have to basically, if you want to build a gate, we have to, at the Windy Pass, discard this card to build a gate there, for example. But that's basically the evening phase, and I think now it's called the night phase, where we are drawing a Darkness Spreads card depending on the stage of war we are in right now. So right now we are at the early war, which means each player draws 1 Darkness Spreads card at the end of their turn, placing minions and moving generals. Then with mid war we would do 2 cards, and late war, so when we have defeated 3 generals, each player draws 3 cards. So the more generals we are defeating, the better it is, but the more difficult the game is ultimately getting, right? I think this kind of makes sense. So let's draw the 1 card for the Elf Lord. So let's see what we get. We have basically 2 kind of information. We have a top row and we have a bottom row. The top row is simply placing more minions onto the board. The bottom row is moving our generals, and depending on their movements we might also then add some more minions. So first of all, we are adding 2 blue minions to Seagull Lagoon, or rather Seagull Lagoon, and you must be joking. The 3rd one is not a problem. The 4th one is already causing an overrun and basically the land to be tainted. So the overrun means we are adding 1 blue guy in here, 1 blue guy in here, and 1 blue guy in here. So there can't be more than 3 in any given location. And this is already the 2nd tainted crystal, 10 more to go, and we have lost. And it's not over yet, because we still have to add, I think, 2 green ones to Heaven's Glade. And this is really hilarious. I really don't know what's going on here. I mean, the first card we are drawing. So Heaven's Glade is getting, it's basically 2, right? Yeah, it's getting 1. Then we would be adding the 4th one. Again, we can't add the 4th one, so we will basically see a tainted crystal here. 1 guy is going in here, not a problem. Someone is getting in here. Also still not a problem. It's 3 problematic, but not the end of the world. But over here we would be adding a 4th one. We can't, but we are not doing consecutive overruns in this game. But we are still tainting the land. The thorny woods are also tainted. Are you kidding me? Now it would be so perfect for having the elf lord taking his turn, because he could really deal quite well with those, because he can move into these locations for free. Wow, that was so bad. But we are still not done yet. The last piece of information that we are checking on this card is to see if the corresponding general, in this case Sapphire, will move. So we are looking if the next location he would be moving to would be the Ancient Ruins. Luckily it's not. We see the blue path here, but if this symbol would have shown Heaven's Glade, we would have moved him over, and then he would be spawning one more fella in there too. Yeah, that's pretty brutal actually. It's really ultra brutal, but nothing we can do about it. But for now we can ignore the movement here. For now, that's at least a small relief. Okay, over to Eliana. She basically has the same decisions to make. We could build or start building some gates at the Scorpion Canyon. Yet I don't know if that's helpful or not. Or the Macomb Highlands, which also not necessarily ultra great. So I think we really have to start dealing with those. I think these were orcs, right? Exactly. We could have her travel to Father Oak, which could be important now for her actually, because we can remove one tainted crystal. So basically as a Hail Mary last resort kind of thing. Where is the Father Oak Forest though? And yeah, it's really right next to us. The thing is, we really want to get rid of those guys up here. So if we get more and more tainted crystals over there, that is becoming a problem. And again, she can move up to 2 spaces with 1 action, with her gallop action. I think that's what we are going to do actually. So we are spending 1 action. And because of her rider's ability, she can take the Seeker with her. And I think that's what we need to do actually. So we're moving 1 and 2 spaces into the Whispering Wood for now. For the second action, I think we are going to attack this location over here, because again, keep in mind, she can use her archery, which allows her to attack minions 1 space away if they were in the same location. I think that is pretty huge actually. So let's do that. For now, we are targeting here the Heaven's Glade, of course. We are rolling 3 dice. Again, 1 die for each minion there. And Gorgut, you can just see that he needs a +3, or all his minions need a 3+ in order to be destroyed. So basically her second action is to try to kill some orcs in there. This game is mocking me. So this might be a short one. Let's try that again. So she's not getting any bonuses anyway, so we are simply rolling 3 dice again at Heaven's Glade. Okay, just good enough, which I think is all right for now. And now we might really, I think we might want to stop here. So in this case, we will continue with this location here. So she's spending her 4th action out of 5, by the way, in order to hit that location. She can totally do that, so she doesn't need to use her archery, of course. And I will have that count, because give me a break, right? So we are removing all 3 of those. I think this was important. And then I think we can actually use our last action to hit again. And now we have to make a call if we want to hit the Ancient Ruins, the Dancing Stone, or the Eagle Pass. I think we are going for a location with 2. The blue guys are really tough. We need a 5+ in order to hit the minions of Sapphire. But we have to start getting rid of those as well, right? So I think we are doing that. On the other hand, these 2 are also they're difficult. Let's do that. Let's go for the easy ones. We want to get rid of some. So that's why you're rolling different colored dice, because this is a 4+, the green one is a 3+, and then you assign them according. Just 1 below the threshold, each of these dice. Oh, this game, I already love every second about it. Are you kidding me? Okay, This is really bad, but it is what it is. We can't really help it. Now we come to the evening phase. So we would be checking if we are at locations with minions and whatnot. We are not, so we can ignore that. We are drawing 2 cards. Okay, we have red cards. Again, piling those up is of course a good thing. Quite obviously, because again, the more cards you have, the easier it will be, or more likely it will be that you will defeat the generals accordingly. And another green card, the Golden Oak Forest. Again, we have to start thinking about building any gates also, right? So that was the evening phase. Now we come to the night phase. We will be drawing our Darkness Spreads card. And wow, we are seeing our very first global event, and it's a bad one actually, because they come in 2 flavors, good and bad, and these black ones are bad, and then there are, I think, pinkish, reddish ones, which are the good ones. Strong command, the generals are moving with troops at full strength. Okay, as an immediate effect, place 3 minions with the next general that moves. Ignore the number of minions on the Darkness Spread card attached to the general, and instead add 3 minions when the general moves. Okay, I think we have to leave this in effect until one of these generals is moving. Usually they only bring out 1. In most cases there might be cards with 2, can't quite remember now. But in this case we would be adding 3, which could be very detrimental. Thing is, even though it's a bad effect, it already says it, draw another Darkness Spreads card. So something will happen for sure. And in this case we do have a normal card. And oh boy. Again, the game is kicking me while I'm already on the floor. Yeah. Because this card is now kicking in because it says he moves to the next location. So first of all, we will spawn some more minions. So 1 green guy goes to the Thorny Woods, which of course adds another... Okay, no, that's a normal outbreak basically, or overrun. So 1 guy goes in here, that would be the 4th one, right? 1 goes in here and 1 goes in here. So at least here right now we are not seeing a second Tainted Crystal, but that was already a great start, right? Then we're adding 2 more black dudes to the Dancing Stone, which for now is still quote unquote okay. This game is so bad. Then the general, I think it's Sapphire, will move to the next location. So in this case it doesn't matter which location he is, he will simply carry on. And here we are even double punished, because this card wouldn't actually add more minions to his new location, but because we have the strong command here, place 3 minions with the next general that moves. Ignore the number of minions on the Darkness Spreads card attached to the general, and instead add 3 minions when general moves. Yeah, that's basically what we are doing. So we're adding 1 more minion of him, basically 3, but we can't add 3 because you already see that. That's a problem, but that's another crystal in here. We would be adding 1 more here. We can't do that, so we're adding 1 more here, and 1 can definitely go in here. And we are adding 1 dude over here, and even there, oh, you must be joking. That's another crystal. So we are already down to only 4 tainted crystals. I never started off the game as bad as this one. I really don't know what's going on here. That is so tough. And I don't even know if we are now discarding this card, because it doesn't say so. Place with the next general that moves. I think I will give myself a break here and will then basically discard this card with an effect. Yeah, this was so ultra bad. This was super ultra bad. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong here. Murphy's Law. And quite honestly, I really don't know how to deal with that now. So yeah, let's see what we can do. But we are moving over to the Seeker. The first thing that we are doing, we will use her Precognition. So we are allowed to look at the top card here, which tells us that we're adding 2 blue minions of Sapphire to Amarak's Peak, which I think can just take 2 more, that is fine, and 2 black of Varkolak, 2 black dudes to the Land of Amazons, which is completely okay. And we are moving, or we would be moving Sapphire 1 space closer to Greenleaf Village, but that is still alright at this point in time. So the next location would be the Ancient Ruin, so he's not moving. Okay, I think this card is, let's call it okay-ish. And now we really have to start moving to get rid of some of these folks, right? That is really the problem. So we can basically, maybe we should move down here first, because that's the next location that Sapphire would be moving, but we know he's not moving this round. But yeah, I think we have to spend 1 action. He has 6 actions, by the way, which is not bad. So she's moving down here for 1. So I think we still saved some basically time by having her move with Eliana. Then we are spending her second action to fight against these 3 suckers over here. So that's 3, 4, and 5, and see me fail on all of those. But she has the battle luck. The active player rerolls all failed dice, so we have to start using this, quite honestly. Yeah, that's only 1 success, so we have to be successful now. So I am discarding the battle luck. And again, we have to put this onto the Winds of War card. And these cards will never come back. These purple cards, when they're gone, they're gone. But I still think we have to try at least. No, the 3 is actually good. Okay, maybe in this case, a 3 is good enough. Okay, no. I think I am getting a little bit ahead of myself. We would be removing red and green. And I think 1, for now, let's leave the 1 here. No, I think we are not using the battle luck. 2 is okay, I guess. And then, either we move over here to the Heaven's Glade or we move to the Blizzard Mountains. I think we are moving to the Blizzard Mountains now. So we are spending 1. Oh, what can we? Do we have a horse? No, we don't have a horse. That's a bummer. So we are spending 2 actions, 1 and 2, to move in here. We still have 2 more actions left. I definitely don't want to have her suffer any wounds. And now we are rolling 3 for the penultimate action. 3 blue dice. Again, the 2 hit is a 5+ for these minions of Sapphire, and you must be joking. So I think in this case we have to discard that card. Again, the 3rd card is the charm. We are rolling all those failed dice. This is unbelievable. 6 dice we rolled here. Yeah, I mean, this way we can't really win. I think there's nothing else we can do right now, actually, right? We could spend 1 action to remove. This is something I could have done, actually, to remove them. But in this case, I have to move out of this location because otherwise I'm really taking a ton of beating here. I can't do that, but that's basically the end of her turn and the end of the round. And quite honestly, we may have already lost that game in round 2 or 3. I'm really not sure what's going on here. What I could do, I could use Royal Blessings to get rid of Tainted Location. That's something to consider. That's something. But let's go into the evening phase. We are drawing some more cards here. So that's the Seagull Lagoon. And the good thing is this is an eagle card. So with this card, if we are spending it, we could move up to 4 spaces. And similarly with this horse, we could move 2 spaces with 1 action. Or with this, we can move to this location. So we could basically get rid of this card to beam to the Cursed Plateau, or we could also discard this card to move to any one of those magical gates. But I think right now that's not worth it. Then we are drawing our Darkness Spread card, but I think we were already, I think we confirmed that we are quote unquote okay. So we're adding 2 blue fellas to Amarak's Peak and then 2 black ones down here at the Land of Amazons. And again, we already know that Sapphire is not going to move. Wow, what an ugly round. Okay, then we would be starting a new round with the Elf Lord, but I do think I will stop for today because this was devastating. This is so bad. I mean, down here we are quite okay. So if the next card will, whatever, spawn folks down here, but because all of these cards are basically spawning there, and this is maybe already kind of a problem with these rules here, because once you have spawned all those cards, the starting minions, you will shuffle them all back into the deck. So they're not out there and then will later on come back. No, they could come back right away with your first cards. And that's exactly what happened here, right? We have seen all this kind of movement over here. So that's definitely a problem. And one thing I believe I have forgotten, not a major thing, is the Elf Lord's Elven Magic, which would allow him to spend his reroll token once per round for 1 failed die, and only for a failure, and only really 1. So yes, we could have maybe let's allow me this one mulligan. I think we would have used it, I guess, on the Seeker's roll or so, just to give me a break, right? So we are rolling this again at the start of the round. It will reactivate, but yeah, let's do that properly, right? We are rolling that die. We are hoping for a 5+, and of course it's not good enough. So doesn't really matter too much. I still suck at rolling dice. But yeah, that's basically the first full round of Defenders of the Realm. I think I will start using those Royal Blessings. I can spend one in order to get rid of all the tainted crystals in one location, so we would be heading for the Thorny Woods, for example. This would definitely give us some break, and in theory we can do that again here at the Heaven's Gate. So yes, we have still some chances getting rid of those, and really I'm hoping that we will now start adding more folks to other locations here on board, so that we can really, that they're all clumped up here. That's definitely a problem, so something I definitely need to start working towards too. So yeah, let me know what you think. Definitely send in your suggestions about what I should be doing next. I really totally suck at this game, quite obviously. And also let me know if this strong command card, if this is something that will stay on the board or if this is gone. Maybe I will check the Geek and see if it's something. I think I do have a FAQ, but I don't really know from which expansion or from which set this came from. So I have to really do some digging here in order to find out. But if you happen to know, then let me know. Maybe it's still out there and then we are toast anyway, right? If this is keep on going, that we're adding 3 more minions with every move of a general until this card is in effect, then this game is over. But yeah, I really hope you are enjoying this, despite my poor efforts here, keeping us alive. I really do enjoy this game quite a bit. It's always a shame when I play this game that I say to myself, why don't you play this game more often? It's really a ton of fun. It can be challenging. It's very swingy. Some rounds are definitely much easier than others, but yeah, that's part of the game, and I'm okay losing. I'm really, if you hear me complain, that's okay. I'm okay. Don't worry about me. But yeah, hope to see you soon in one of my other videos, and yeah, until then, bye bye.